And we're up and running.
Up and running. You know, if we ever get famous, we got to have bobbleheads made. With that music in it, right?
I like it.
Why not?
Why not?
Bobbleheads. What do they call the Three Stooges? That'd
Three
be
Stooges, yeah. Yeah, I like it. Hi, okay. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to our Sunday night offering of Astronomy Outreach, the Sunday Night Astronomy Show. My name is Chris, and I look after Astronomy by the Bay, and I have these two guys with me who join me on the show program, who run the show with me. And I'd like to welcome back, first of all, our regular co-host, Mr. Paul Owen from the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada, Hampton branch. From the Moonshot Observatory in Hampton. Hey,
It's a suburb of Norton.
There, yeah, suburb Norton. We don't want to mention suburbs today.
Yeah.
And
You know
we
what?
have
Not far from LA.
yeah,
Lower Appomattox, just right up.
lower
Lower
Appomattox. Okay, and we've got Royal Astronomical Society of Canada member Mr. Mike Powell for the PFO Observatory here in St. John. Hey, Mike.
Okay.
Hey, good evening. Okay, well, good evening, folks. We got another busy show for you here tonight. On tonight's episode of the Sunday Night Astronomy Show, after a brief break that we had last week, first one that we had, we're back to offer you another hour of astronomy info. We're going to take a look at some of the top resources on the web, which websites can contain some of the best info to help you in your stargazing experience. These are just my choices, I guess. These guys probably have a lot more of them as well. If you have a website or two you'd like to share, we'd like to get that information too out there. So, also tonight, sometimes purchasing equipment can be a disappointment if you don't get to see what you expect. To help make you make a decision before you make a purchase, Paul's going to offer us some information on possibly on what to see through different types of gear, but I'm going to leave that part to him. It's a surprise. Yeah. To him. Also, Mike will be back with us with Bino Bud and look at the Dumbbell Nebula, I believe. Bino Bud.
Nope.
No. Oh, sorry. Oh,
You got it wrong already.
I did.
Yep.
It's Bino
Now
Bud.
now it's a total surprise.
Okay.
All right.
You have to stay tuned in, folks, I guess.
29, not 27.
Oh, 29. Oh, M29. That's right. Not 27. Eek. I'm slipping. And we'll also have another interesting Rosanna's Fun Facts episode to talk about tonight. And along with, if we get time, we're going to take a look at the best celestial events that have remained for the rest of the year, this year. And we'll also have your wonderful photo submissions to share, of course. So another very busy show. So I'll shut up and get going here. So sit back and enjoy. Remember, this is a family-friendly live broadcast. So if you have any questions about tonight's sky, we're happy to try and answer them here for you. So let's get started then with a look at some of the best resources on the web, or some of the ones that I use. Maybe they're the best, maybe they're not, but maybe some of the more common ones that you could use. How's that? All right, let's go to present now. Entire screen. I'm going to go with this one. And I'll see if I can get this from the beginning. Slideshow. From the beginning. And hopefully that's showing up to you guys.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay. Astronomy resources on the web. There are a lot of them out there, for sure, but I'm just going to cover a few of the more common ones maybe. You probably have seen a lot of these in yourself, but we'll go through them anyway. Just a little short list here. Here's some of the resources sites. I'm going to pause there just for a second if anybody wants to grab their cell phone and snap a picture of this. Or, of course, you can go back to the video later on and capture it. But these are some of the sites that we're going to take a real quick look at. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's probably long enough. Okay, let's go. First of all, up for us would be stjohnastronomy.ca or sjastronomy.ca. I'm going to take a little look at this a little bit later on, but it's a fantastic website. It was built by our webmaster, Jim Stewart, here in St. John. Or Jim's actually outside of St. John city limits, but Jim has done an absolutely amazing job with this website. Keeps it updated for us. There's so many categories on here. You could spend a lot of time in here just looking through a lot of the categories that are listed on either side of the page here. We'll go through that a little bit later. Of course, we're all members of RASC-NB as well. So the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada, the New Brunswick chapter. There are over 5,000 members across Canada, and we're the New Brunswick chapter ourselves. We have listings here. Usually if it's star parties, we have the star party events, upcoming events, that kind of thing on here. When we're having our next meeting, there are other resources here as well. There's a place for a blog. Some of the latest posts are here, so rascnb.ca. Of course, we're all members of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada as well, so that's another big website. There's a lot of information on that website. If I am a member and I want to post information about an outreach event or post what I had done on an outreach event, this is where I go to log my information. There's lots of observing programs in here as well. There's an Explore the Universe program, an Explore the Moon program with telescope and binoculars. Both those programs are free, by the way. You can go in here and get the programs, download them in PDF, but you can't get the actual little pin that says that you've completed them unless you become a RASC member. But becoming a member of RASC is a good idea for anybody who wants to stay serious in the hobby. We are membership across Canada, so you get to hang around with people that are in the same interests as you, and star parties are sponsored by RASC, that type of thing. So it is something to consider. From there, Sky News Magazine, which is the annual, which is the only Canadian astronomy magazine. It can arrive bi-monthly to your door for a subscription. And they have a lot of information about RASC as well in the Sky News. RASC owns Sky News, so they do promote RASC as well through the magazine. But this does give you a nice fold-out star map and talks about the coming events and what they mean. Astro Buy Sell. This is our Kijiji of astronomy. So if you want to find anything that's new or used, this is where you go to find it. Here's a sample of a few things that are listed here, things that are for sale. Most of the stuff that's on here is listed by other astronomers, and generally speaking, the majority of astronomers really look after their equipment. So when I go in to look at something like on here, I know that it's been maintained well. Lots of deals on here. If you're looking for a telescope, you can get one sometimes at half price, and even better. At times, accessories. You buy a telescope, but you'll probably spend twice as much on your accessories once you buy your scope, things that you'll want. So that's listed here, as well as all of the Canadian websites. There are two that are missing, or one that's missing. La Maison de l'Astronomie, which is in Quebec as well. It's not advertised on here, but Astronomy Plus is too. That's a big one for us. Ontario Telescope, All-Star Telescope, quite a few on here. So any of these links will take you out to their particular websites. So lots of information there about buying equipment. And of course, you can always look at Facebook, Marketplace, which is another place that does have equipment. Just type telescope and up you come with what's available in your area. Kijiji is another, big place for telescope gear. Here I would probably select arts and crafts, or whatever it is, crafts I think it is, instead of getting all the other things that have like a telescopic chair and that kind of stuff, which doesn't really apply. But from there on, Spaceweather.com. This is a site I visit pretty well every day when I want to see what's happening with the sun. There's a daily sun over here right on the side. It shows a couple of sunspots there today. They'll talk a lot about what's happening with the sun, how many sunspots we've had, where we are in the solar cycle, that type of thing. So there's a lot of information on that page. Stellarium, of course, is the freeware program. Very powerful freeware program. Download that for free from stellarium.org. You can get the full version from there with all the updates. They'll actually tell you when there are updates available as well. You can also use the web version if you're not able to download, say you're on your phone or whatever, and you want to take a look at what's happening in tonight's sky. You can try the web version, and it gives you a lot of the same features, but it's on the web. So you have nothing to use up for memory. So that's always a great place to start if you're beginning in astronomy, or even if you're not beginning and you want to find out what the sky is going to be like next Tuesday, or what's going to be up in the sky next Tuesday. That's a place to go. Our Earth Sky is another one that I use a lot. Tonight I'll go and see what they select as being the best targets for tonight's sky. There's a lot of information in here about different events as well, lunar eclipses, solar eclipses, conjunctions, what they all mean, all those terms. Here's a sample page that they have out for like an update on the sky. The moon swings by Saturn and Jupiter in late May and early June evening. So there's lots of current information like that on there. Timeanddate Com. That's another place that I go to a lot when I'm looking at the moon phase. I want to know what the moon phase is for next Tuesday, and where the moon is going to rise and what direction, that kind of thing. So here you can see like the 76% waning gibbous moon today. There's the direction that it's going to be, that's the direction it's traveling right now. There's the next full moon and the next moon rise. It'll tell you what direction it's coming up or setting. So you can go in through that. Sunrise and sunset too. There's also eclipses are in there. There's a night sky button which brings up a lot of information about the planets. So there's a whole lot of information setting up in there. All you have to do is go in and make sure that you type in your location here first to bring it up. CloudyNights.com. If you're looking for information about equipment, this is the place to go for forums. They have a lot of different forums in there. They're all categorized from beginners forum to general observing to outreach, light pollution, ATMs, binoculars. There's telescopes, all the different types of telescopes. There's sections on eyepieces. There's sections on astrophotography. You can see how many times this gets used. There's general observing, 242,124 replies, or 12,000 topics. 530,000 replies on 32,000 topics on beginners forum. So all kinds of stuff in there. If you're looking for an answer on something or looking how to build something, somebody in here has done it. So you'll always find your answer in here. Join it, become a member, and join. You can also look at the classified ad section that they have in there as well. This one, heavensabove.com, is one I use a lot. I want to see what's happening with the ISS, or I want to see if there's going to be a Starlink pass coming up. Also, I'll go in and take a look at what's happening with the planets, of course, too. So this gives you all your details about your planets, the superior conjunction, inferior conjunction, rise and set times, what constellation they happen to be in, how bright they are. All of that data is available right there, easily. Clear Dark Sky. We all want to know what the sky is going to be like out tonight, so we can go into this page, cleardarksky.com. There's a clear sky charts, light pollution map. From here, I can go to St. John's map. Once I type in St. John as my location, here's the sky tonight. Eek. White is bad, blue is good. So if that top line is all nice, solid, dark blue, you know you've got a really nice observing night coming up. All these categories fit in together into one thing called seeing, which tells you how good your viewing is going to be that night. So, and of course, you can just go to Environment Canada's weather satellite shot. Like if you don't want to believe what that last slide showed, then here's your actual. This is the one I probably refer to the most. It's kind of like sticking your head out the window and looking up. You know, that's what you're going to see. So when I see this one, I usually put it through an animation mode, and it'll show me where the cloud cover is going to be in the next couple hours. So.
Oops.
Oops, yeah. Oop. Space.com, another one that's fairly popular. A lot of current data on what's happening in space. NASA, of course, nasa.gov. This is NASA TV. You can go in here, you can watch live feeds of the ISS going over the planet. There's everything about every space mission that was ever launched by NASA is in here. So if you want to find anything about Curiosity rover or the missions to Saturn, Cassini, it's all there. Eyes in the Sky. This guy, I kind of like this guy. This is David Fuller. He puts things in a very elementary perspective for you. He's an astronomer, but he explains things very well. He has a YouTube channel as well called Eyes in the Sky, and in there he has lots of data about like, for instance, this little telescope he posted about this one. This is a little Star Blast 4.5. Is this a good telescope for beginners? And he goes into the whole spiel about it. So he's lots of videos, charts, tutorials. He has articles in there. He has things in there like building a small tripod for a small telescope. So I follow him on his website and on his YouTube channel, and I find that he's very informative. the aurora, of course, the northern lights. We want to keep up on what's happening with the northern lights when there's a solar storm happening, or a sunspot has just flared up and released a coronal mass ejection towards our planet, and we want to know what the aurora is going to be like over the next little while. When that happens, it usually takes about 3 days for that cloud of plasma to reach our planet, but here we can see a 3-day forecast. So this forecast will tell us what we expect over the next 3 days as far as opportunities to see the aurora. Astronomy.com, that's another website, which is another magazine, of course, but there's lots of articles in here on space as well, topics that are current, observing projects, photos, videos, all kinds of stuff. Sky and Telescope, another popular magazine as well, same idea. If you want to get current information, you can actually go to 2 or 3 of them and you'll get different viewpoints on topics as well, like Starlinks, that kind of thing. Sky and Telescope also offers a thing called This Week's Sky at a Glance, so you can go in here quickly and take a look at the next week and see what activities they suggest as being good targets to be outside taking a look for. The American Meteor Society. Hey, you saw a fireball. Great. Go in here and report it. There's a report a fireball button. All you do is click on the button, tell the page where you are, what location you were at, what happened, what time, all that kind of stuff, and then it'll collect that data. A few days later, you can go in and have a look at a full map, like a virtual map, and it'll show you who else saw the same thing. Sometimes you'll get a meteor off the coast of the Bay of Fundy, and somebody in Nova Scotia or somebody in Maine has seen the same fireball. So kind of neat to see that. And there's lots of other information in there, of course, too. But I usually like this button here, and this is where I send a lot of people that say, I saw something going across the sky, and it looked like a meteor. Well, here, go here and put the information in. Hubble, of course, the amazing Hubble Space Telescope. The photos in here are just enough to astound you, when you're looking at some of the details that are in that site. But they also offer a really nice tonight sky thing. They used to have planets and moon and that kind of thing, but they've made it smaller now. They just talk about constellations. But you can go in and take a look at what's offered as constellations for the month of June. It's on YouTube as well. You can go to Hubble site and get that gallery, or you can go to the YouTube Hubble site channel and watch the. Well, this is usually a 4 or 5 minute video, so it does give some explanation. Home built astronomy projects. This is kind of neat. This guy has a website, and he's built a lot of things that make your job as an astronomer a little easier, because you don't have to purchase as many accessories. Now he has things like a home-built eyepiece case, a PST eyepiece shield, an observing stool, barn door mount, Telrad cover that covers over the top of your finder to keep the dew off, that kind of thing. So he's got a lot of little projects here. Really neat place to go in and take a look at, and they're fairly inexpensive, all of them, and easy to build. So I included that one. Canadian Space Agency, of course, our answer to NASA. There's more details in here as well. What's happening with Northern Lights and how to become an astronaut. We should have looked at that long ago. Spot the Station.nasa.gov. This is another website, but not really an app. That'll show you when the next opportunities are going to be that the space station is going to pass over you. So there's an ISS live tracking map there as well. Darksky.org. Of course, we're all concerned about dark sky abilities, and there's lots of information here about light pollution, lighting, what kind of lighting to use when you're outside, when you have a house and you've got a light set up on your outside of your house. What type of light do you want to have that's best for you? That type of thing. So, lots of information on dark sky there. CNOS, Center for Near Earth Object Studies. So if you're a person that likes to track asteroids and the impact risk of any asteroids, what we're doing for planetary defense, that type of thing, that's all on this page. And the Planetary Society, which is one that was formed by Carl Sagan, which is a site that is looking at exploring other parts of our solar system. This is one that's actually on the RASC page. Now, it used to be starfinder.ca, but I guess RASC have captured it. And you can build your own starfinder. So these little things that we hand out at outreach events, you can build your own for your kids and let them find their own way around the night sky. Very simple little process. And I'm just going to take us a quick look at that page. Let's open it up here a second. How are we doing for time, guys? Okay?
Yeah.
All right. drag this over here for a second. Okay, so this is just the St. John Astronomy Club page that I started out with. Down the page itself, there's lots of recent posts. On the left-hand side, there's all these useful links. All those links that I just showed you are all right here. So if you just want to go directly right here to the St. John Astronomy Club page, and you can click on any one of these links, that'll take you to all those pages that I just showed up. Even some more of them, actually, European Space Agency, and a few more that I hadn't talked about. There's all the useful apps that are here. These are all apps that you can download. The library resources that are available. Here's this guy, whatever the guy is. Go down past him. There's star parties. When we have our star parties, these are some of the events that we've had in the past. Also, Paul and Mike both have sessions or places in here that talk about telescope basics, imaging the moon, astrophotography. So if you're looking for any of Paul's talks, they're pretty well, most of them are right here. Mike Powell has done a lot of talks as well. They're listed here. Some other members of the club, Tom Ragsby, who does great night sky captures. If you want to do a pano of the sky, Jim Stewart has a talk on that. So all kinds of stuff in here. And on the right-hand side, there's the planet summary that I had shown you earlier. The clear sky chart. These are live links, basically. Spot the station, monthly calendar. So there's a lot of detail on that page. So I encourage everybody to go to that page and check it out. You would be amazed at how many links you can find here and how powerful this page really is. So that would be that, and that would be that, and that would be me. There. So lots and lots of pages to go through, but those are kind of the common ones for me anyway. I know these guys here have been to a lot of other ones. If other people want to suggest any, I can certainly include them later on my page. Hopefully that'll help with some people. Okay, so we've got a couple of questions here. Where would it be best to view the eclipse next week? Lisa, the best place is going to be high, wherever you can find a nice high spot.
Right.
And looking to the northeast, because if you want to see it right at sunrise, you're going to see the first parts of it happening. But really, you're going to have almost 2 hours, because it rises at 5:38, but the eclipse isn't at its maximum until 6:35. So you've got a full hour there for it to happen, and then it's going to take almost another hour for it to disappear. So the sun will be fairly high by 6:30, 7:30. So. You're not going to have to worry about looking at the horizon unless you want to see the whole thing right away. But try to get above everything else if you can, and look to the northeast. That's where we're going to see it, right at sunrise. Okay, Paul, we're going to spin over to you.
No, we're going to do Bino Bud.
Oh, we're going to do Bino Bud. Yes, we are.
What are we going to do?
We're going to do Bino Bud, Mike.
Bino Bud.
That'll be you.
What's this? This one. Yeah.
But while Mike's looking for Bino Bud, if I could just make a quick little addition to what Chris was saying about the eclipse. If you're going to view it, yeah, absolutely. You're going to have a fair bit of time. But if you're going to image it, make sure you're there at the crack of dawn. Make sure you're there when it's still dark, because you're going to want to take a little time to set your camera up and do a few test shots and all that kind of stuff. Make sure you got everything right. You may have to move to the left or to the right, depending on what your site is offering you. So give yourself some extra time if you're going to try to image this. If you're not, then again, it doesn't make that much difference. But if you're going to image it, take some time. Take your time.
Absolutely.
And
there you go.
You know what I'm saying?
And safely as well. Like this is not going to be a total eclipse in our area. It's going to be a partial eclipse. So it's the same thing for you looking at the sun as you normally do. It's still going to damage your eyes if you stare at the sun too long. So be sure that you have solar glasses on, or some type of solar filter on the front of your telescope. It's not something that you can look at straight at. Or tune into our live feed. So if it is, because it is clear, we're going to be live for sure. So
if the big word.
Right.
Hopefully I got the right screen this time.
We do.
Yes, you do.
All by his lonesome. That's what counts. No other pages ahead. See, now he's dressed appropriately.
Always.
So Bino target of the week from Bino Bud is going to be Messier 29.
Yes.
The cooling tower. And you wonder, cooling tower, what do they mean by that? Well, we'll get to that. Messier 29, or NGC 6913, also known as the cooling tower, is an open cluster located in the constellation Cygnus, which we all
Yay.
and in the Orion arm of the Milky Way galaxy, in the local group of galaxies. M29 is about 3,700 light years away from the Earth. M29 is best viewed during the early spring, magnitude 6.6, and can be viewed very easily with binoculars. So how do I find M29? Well, you go out when it's dark, and now, because of the summer coming, it doesn't get dark really till about 11 o'clock. You step out in your backyard, you spin your body with your compass to 65 degrees east and northeast and look up. And you will see Cygnus. It's the Cygnus the Swan, the big T in the sky, or the cross. The brightest star is Deneb. If you drew a line down to what the center star of the cross would be Cedar, and M29 is just a little tiny shot below that. Now, if you're using a Telrad finder, I kind of added this one because I thought it'd be cool. You put your Telrad finder with the circle and Cedar, that same star, almost dead center at the top, and you'll find M29 will be dead center in your Telrad finder. So that's another pretty easy to find. Once you find Deneb and come down to that center star with a Telrad, if you put it right on the top of your circle, M29 will be dead center, and if you're calibrated, it'll be right dead center of your eyepiece. What are you going to see? It is a beautiful little cluster. It's got some different colored stars in it, but there's about 6 or 7 stars that stand out, and they look like they curve together. Sorry, we'll go back one. Boop, boop. Back, back, back. There we go. They look like they curve together. And kind of like a girdle or the shape of a cooling tower. Now, not like the cooling towers that I've seen, but more like 3 Mile Island style cooling towers. They're big cones that open up at the bottom. Through 10 by 50 binos, if you look dead center of this picture, you'll see there's a curve on one side and a curve on the other. It's not very big, but it is definitely stands out by itself from the background, and you can tell it's a cluster. If I was to compare it to the full moon, M29 itself is about the same size as the Sea of Tranquility. It would be about the same size. You see this little black spot right here, and it's about the same size. So it's definitely easy to spot in the sky because it does stick out by itself. And there we have our regular viewing sessions. That says Saggy Acres Nudist Camp, by the way. And that's our binocular target of the week from Bino Bud.
All right.
Okay. Oop. I don't want to pin me. I want to pin. There we go. All of us on there. There.
There we go. We back?
We're back.
We back.
Awesome. Thanks. Thanks, Mike. M29, not M27.
Right.
Dumbbell. Dumbbell.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're going to head to Mr. Owen, who's going to talk to us about something. Stuff. Spacey stuff.
Space stuff. The final frontier. Okay. Yeah. So what I'm going to just talk about tonight is we just got finished doing a workshop, a 4-week workshop. Finished it up last week. And I just want to pull a small part of what my talk was about, just to kind of unpack a few of the myths about magnification and what that means to somebody. And if I do I have to have a great big telescope to get the big magnification and all that kind of stuff? And am I going to see something objectively in a telescope bigger than say another telescope, and just some stuff like that, so that when you're going out to buy telescopes, you're not going to worry about the term magnification, because every telescope allows you to magnify so much. So we want to cover that a little bit, cover a little bit about what you might expect to see in any given type of telescope, and maybe just cover the three what I consider the 3 ways that we would observe. So those are the things I want to cover. So with no further ado, I'm going to try to present successfully. We're going to see. how that all works out. And right now you should be seeing a shot of Orion, I'm hoping.
Hang on a
Yes,
sec.
sir.
Hang on. I got to pin you.
That's what I got.
All right. Now I got it. Yep.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to see if I can make this work. There we go. Okay. So what can I see with a telescope, and can I see in color? And those are the two biggest things that people ask or think about when they're buying a telescope, because what drives most people to buy a telescope are the beautiful pictures they see on the box or in a magazine. These beautiful, like that picture of Orion you just saw just a second ago. That's what you think you're going to see when you buy a telescope. Well, you'll probably be disappointed if you think that, if you're expecting that, and you buy a telescope, you won't see anything like that. Not to say that what you won't see is exciting, because it is, and all of that stuff we'll cover. But there are ways to be able to see photographs like that. Okay, so what should I start with for objects to observe? So the first thing I want to do is I just want to show this link, and hopefully it'll come up. Yes, it'll come up there. Perfect. This is the link from Celestron. Celestron is a manufacturer. They make telescopes, mounts, they make everything, and they make everything very, very well. But if you go to their page and you go to that link that's right on the top there, just go to that. It'll take you to the little thing that says, what can I see with a telescope, and can I see in color? And this covers everything, and it goes down in the way that I would recommend that if you're just starting out for observing and you want to figure out what should I start looking at with my new telescope, what's easy to find, what's easy to see, what's very pleasing. Am I going to get those nice aha moments when I look through my telescope for the first time? So if you start with the moon, you're definitely going to get all of that. And then, then the sun, of course, with proper filtration, because the sun is very safe to look at with the proper filters for the sun. And then you can move on to the planets. Now, the reason I suggest those three at first is because whether you're in the city or whether you're in the country, it doesn't make any difference, because all of these things, the planets, the sun, and the moon, are visible no matter what your light situation is. So you don't have to rush out to a dark sky site to see any of this. You can see this right from a city if you want to. So provided you don't have a building anyway, of course. So those are the three things that you should start with. And those are the three things that you can, in fact, see a little color in. The planets, definitely you're going to see color. You're going to see the orangish, sandiest look of Mars. You will see some colors in Jupiter and Saturn. The sun shows you all kinds of cool stuff, again, depending on the filtration that you're using. And the moon is going to be, typically in a telescope, it's going to be kind of a white, because it's going to be so bright that it's going to be kind of that color anyway. But the moon is just so dynamic, and you get so many opportunities in a run of a month to see a moon. Those would be the three things you want to start with. And then you can move on to your clusters, nebula, galaxies, comets. Those are the fainter things. And those are the things that you're going to want to have a little telescope experience before you start trying to hunt those down. So anyway, so go to this site. It's an amazing site from Celestron. They lay everything out, what to expect to see in all of these different categories. And they really make your telescope growth a nice gradual run up to all those nice deep sky objects. Okay, so that was that one. So the next one, 3 ways to observe. So you can observe with the naked eye, you can observe with binoculars, and you can observe with a telescope. I'm just going to quickly run through those 3 and what you'll expect to see by doing that. So with naked eye, the advantages and the benefits to naked eye are learning your constellations, you learn your ecliptics, in other words, the pattern that the sun, the moon, and all that kind of stuff follow in the night sky. Once you know where that ecliptic line is, it's very, very easy to spot all those things. And then you'll know what those bright things are in the sky that Chris said earlier. Learn to star hop. You can do that again with simply a little star chart like what you see in the center, and you go underneath that night sky, you find some constellations, all that kind of stuff. You can tell the difference between satellites and shooting stars once you're out there a little bit. And your visual magnitude for naked eye is up to about 6. Now, visual magnitude is basically a brightness sensitivity that your eye has. So you can see stars up to about a magnitude 6. A magnitude 6 star, for example, would be found in the Little Dipper. And in the Little Dipper, in the bowl of the Little Dipper, down on the bottom 2 stars in the bowl, there's actually a 3rd star right in between those 2 stars. If you can see that, that's magnitude 6. If you can't see that, you're probably about a magnitude 5. So that would be your visual cutoff point for looking at stars with your naked eye. For binoculars, it's a little different. Your visual magnitude goes up to 9. And that's quite a bit. I mean, that's like 40% more visual sensitivity to dimmer objects. So you can see a gazillion more stars by using binoculars than what you can see with the naked eye. Now, the advantages of binoculars, of course, are you can observe large craters on Maria, on the moon, the seas. You can observe star clusters, comets, Jupiter and its moons through binoculars. You can observe some beautiful double stars, and you can see colors better when you are looking at those stars. And there's even some larger galaxies that you can actually see, which are very, very dim, but they fall in that 9 to 6 magnitude that you can't see with the naked eye, but you can see with binoculars. So binoculars are, of course, another great way to observe. Excuse me. And of course, there's telescopes. And so depending on the aperture and your focal length, that's going to play a big part in what you can or cannot see, even in a telescope. So the larger the aperture, in other words, when you look at this telescope that Chris has got right here, that hole right there, that's actually the size of his mirror. His mirror sits in the back there, and that mirror is that large. So that would be a 12-inch mirror. So a 12-inch, is it 12, Chris? Yeah, 12. So it's a 12-inch mirror.
Yeah, 12, yeah.
And a 12-inch mirror collects a lot of light, an extreme amount of light. And because you get an extreme amount of light, you can see deeper into space. So the more aperture you have when you're dealing with observations, the deeper into space you can actually look. So the larger the aperture, the more light is gathered, and the fainter objects in detail can be seen. The longer the focal length, the more magnification you will get from your eyepieces. And the focal length basically is from the point where the light enters into the telescope, does its thing to the mirror, and then from the mirror where it originates and when it goes up into your eyepiece, that length is called the focal length. The longer that is, then the more native magnification you have. I'm going to take that, I'm going to dispel that myth right away, or explain the myth, sorry. So focal length is right here. It's pretty simple. Here's the telescope, the typical refractor, the ones that we see Galileo use, where you look at one end and you look straight through to the other. It looks like a big long periscope tube. And so focal length is basically where the light comes in and starts to refract, and it goes down to a point where it comes to focus. So basically at that point where it focuses and where the point is where it comes in and strikes the lens, that distance is what you would call focal length. So a long focal length eyepiece used on a 1,000 millimeter telescope will produce a magnification of 1,000 divided by 25 equals 40. So here's the math, folks. This is the simplest thing you're ever going to have to think about when it comes to math. To figure out how much power you're going to see with your eyepiece, all you're going to do is you're going to take your focal length. So let's say, for example, on this telescope, this is 1,000 millimeter focal length, and I'm going to divide it by my eyepiece. So if I'm using that 25 millimeter eyepiece right here, I divide 25 into 1,000 and I get 40. So 40 times is what I'm able to see with this eyepiece. If I choose the 10 millimeter, I take that same thing and I'm going to get 100 times. So in eyepieces, just remember that the smaller the number, the more magnification that you're putting in. And the only thing that changes the native focal length magnification are the eyepieces. That's where the magnification truly happens. So again, if you ever see it on about those department stores where they say 625 times, in a 90 millimeter refractor, 625 times power is absolutely useless, because each telescope has what they call a limited or a useful magnification. And so you have to look at that specification, and that'll tell you how much magnification you can get so that you can actually view something clearly. Anything beyond what that telescope's useful magnification is no good to you. So when you do that, the reason they tell you that is so that you can buy the correct eyepieces that get the proper magnification that your telescope can in fact do. A short focal length, 10 millimeter high okay, we just talked about that, sorry. So the same eyepieces used in a 1500 millimeter focal length. So in other words, if I had a longer telescope, that naturally produces a larger image. So 1500 millimeters will produce a larger image than what natively than what 1000 millimeters will. So that naturally produces a larger image. So we will have magnifications of same math. Now I'm dealing with 1500 millimeters, taking that same eyepiece. Now I have 60 times power. So you can see I went from 40 times to 60 times with that same eyepiece. The eyepiece didn't get any stronger. All that happened is we lengthened the focal length of that telescope. So that's basically how you can decide how to get your magnification, so you know what 40 times is, or what your eyepiece and your telescope combination will give you. Sorry. If you take your hand, if you can see this on your computer, and it's a relatively good size screen, put your hand on the top of the computer screen, and your eyes will be about the right distance from the screen to show you how big Saturn will appear through a telescope at the magnification shown. So if you're looking at a telescope that is 50 times, that's how big Saturn's going to look to you. If you're looking at a telescope that's got 400 times, that's how big Saturn's going to look to you. So it doesn't matter the aperture of the telescope or the focal length. All telescopes can achieve sometimes the same magnification as other telescopes. So if I'm using the right eyepiece, say for this 50 times, I could be using a very powerful eyepiece and a very small telescope to get 50 times. But then if I take a really giant telescope and I use a smaller magnification eyepiece, I'm going to see the same size Saturn. The difference is with the more aperture, in other words, the larger the lens or mirror that you're using, then that image that you're looking at will give you more detail because you're collecting more light. But the actual size, the times portion, that doesn't tell you quality. That just tells you, that's how much magnification that you're actually seeing. Hello?
So far, so good. Quarter two.
Hello.
Okay.
We locked up there for a second, but I think you're back.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to go through just one more slide. And this one here is pretty straightforward. And basically, it's double your eyepiece collection. And I wanted to bring this up because this is something that a lot of people will go out and spend a lot of money on a whole bunch of lenses. When if you buy a Barlow lens, which is a magnifier, an amplifier, really, you can take your same lenses and double your fun. So let's say, for example, if I had a 40 millimeter eyepiece and I buy what we call a 2 times Barlow, which is this guy here, then as soon as I put it into that Barlow and put that into my telescope, now I have magnification of 20 millimeters. Again, remember, the lower the number, the more magnification you have. So now I have 2 eyepieces by using that Barlow from that one eyepiece, or 2 focal lengths. If I have a 32 millimeter focal length, and again, I've only bought the one Barlow, now that 32 millimeter eyepiece will also become a 16 millimeter eyepiece when I'm using the Barlow. Same as the 10 becomes a 5. So now instead of just having 3 eyepieces or 3 magnifications, now I've got 6 just by adding a Barlow. So this is something, again, that I recommend if you don't have one, and if you're starting out with observing, get yourself a Barlow, because they really will save you a lot of money in eyepieces. And if it's a good quality Barlow, it'll keep the integrity of the quality of the image that your eyepiece is offering you. Now, I'm going to stop it there because we're getting a little short in time, and we can carry on with other stuff, at another time. But I just want to cover those things. So let me see if I can escape this and stop presenting. Hey, we're back.
Hey, awesome, Paul.
Perfect.
Okay.
On again? Yep, we're good. Okay, awesome. Thanks very much.
You're
All good
welcome.
info there. Okay, let's move to, we're at quarter two right now, so let's move to photos here, and then Paul's going to come back with a Rosanna's fun facts for us. So I've got a number of photos here to share, so just bear with me. Actually, it was nice to get as many photos as we did this week.
Yeah.
And I got to open them up here. Open with photos. You should do it. All right, there's our first photo up. So this one came from David Smart. David said moon capture using an 8-inch Dob and his phone. So pretty nice stuff.
Nice.
Phones are getting so good, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
And an 8-inch Dob. Get lot, like Paul said, lots of light. So lots of detail. We got this one from Kathy Adams. Kathy said, a moon view. We had a bit of a clear sky for a while. Wow. Yeah. Really beautiful shot.
Beautiful.
Lots of detail.
Very
well.
nice.
Very nice, Kathy.
Wow.
Moved over to Jeff Legier. Jeff says some shots of the moon are early evening 23rd and Saturn early morning of the 24th. He was using a Celestron Omni 150 with a 4mm eyepiece and a cell phone. A 4mm, that's a tough one to do.
Cell phone.
For sure. Yeah, cell phone.
Wow.
That's awesome, man. You get the rings.
Get the rings, yeah.
Yeah, you can see it. You can see it. Looks good.
Good stuff. Lisa Ann Fanning. Hi, Chris.
Oh, wow.
She says, I discovered the secret as to how they hold the moon up. hold it full moon. So having
That's
some
awesome.
fun tonight, she says. So awesome, Lisa Ann.
That's fantastic.
Great job. We're not. Ross Shelton sent this in. Notice tonight that the moon is so not round, she said, as it was popping out from behind the clouds for a moment. I love my binos for this. So she has her binos sitting there with her finder on top. And she'll be sending the moon through the finder.
Oh, nice.
What a great
It's a moon dot finder.
moon
Oh,
dot
yeah,
finder.
that's what people got there. Okay, yeah.
What a great moon night watching, she says. A stray visiting cat turned up also. Well, that's always good.
I see him in the
Good
corner.
company. Yeah.
Little black cat.
They're black and white. Yeah.
Kathy sent these in. Kathy Adams again. Supermoon, she says, it was spectacular here in St. Stephen, though the clouds did move in. Though that big orange moon with the heavier and dark clouds that rolled in was pretty spectacular too. Pictures do not do it justice.
Oh, they're so beautiful picture.
Yeah, it is.
That one. Here's another one from her.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful.
Great shots.
Incredible.
The third and the fourth.
Spectacular.
Well done.
Well done,
Yeah.
Kathy. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome pictures. Get my notes straight here. This one here is from Jeff Legier, I believe. Next one, he said, socially distancing star party. Yeah, we know, Jeff. That's what it is for now, but that's going to come back. It'll come back. Deanna Merrithew King sent this one in May 23rd at 8:23 p.m. She said from Keswick.
Nice.
Nice.
Awesome. Very nice. Lots of moon shots.
Yeah.
People are loving the moon. Pamela Beatty sent this one in from Windermere, Nova Scotia. Hey, Pamela. Good stuff. Super moon rising.
Oh, it's beautiful. Over here, over the trees.
Yeah. Carol Bean sent this one in. Venus and Mercury from St. Stephen this evening. That was from Friday, I guess. So
Nice.
just
Excellent.
before, maybe Thursday, because I think Friday was the conjunction. So
Is that-
yeah,
So that's west.
that's west. Yeah.
And can you just real quickly tell them what the ecliptic is? Because that's a perfect lineup to
Sure.
show what an ecliptic is.
Sure. The ecliptic is the path that the moon and planets tend to take, or the sun, moon, and planets all seem to take across the sky. Because we're tilted at a 23-degree angle as we're going around the sun, we see the planets. We don't see the planets in a perfect plane out with us, but they're basically following the path of the plane of the planets above us. So, in this time of year, the ecliptic is kind of high in the western sky in the evening, and it's low in the eastern sky in the morning. So that'll switch around to high in the eastern sky and low in the western sky when we get to about midsummer. So the ecliptic is just the imaginary line drawn across the sky that the path that the sun and the moon and the planets seem to fall on. So if you see something bright along that line and it's not twinkling, it could be a planet.
And it's arc. It's like an arc. Think about half of McDonald's arc and then spread one out a little bit more. So if you look at Mercury and Venus, just think about where the sun is. The sun has just gone down. and to that very corner where he's pointing, and Mercury and Venus are actually following it. And that's basically when the moon comes up and all the other planets, they all follow that same path, rising in the east, going across and reaching the peak at the very southern point, and then start descending into the western horizon. So that's basically how you would look for planets and the sun.
So Friday night, Mercury and Venus were so close together they were only a half of a degree apart, less than half of a degree apart. So when you were looking at them with your naked eye, it would look like one object. You needed binoculars to separate them. Now Mercury is getting farther down this way, and Venus is going higher, actually. So they're separating now. Mercury is going to go behind the sun, June the 10th, I believe it is, or inferior conjunction between us and the sun on June the 10th. And Venus is going to be in our evening sky for the rest of the year now. It's going to keep getting brighter and brighter. So great shot.
That's a great shot.
From here we got Stacy Lee Esterbrook sent this one in Supermoon Moonrise. Thank you, Stacy Lee.
That's
Yeah, nice shot.
Nice shot.
Where's
Always nice
she
in the
at?
water. She is, I forget
Nice
where
piece
she's
of
at.
water. Is that down St. Andrew, St. Steve, or no?
I think she was, I think she didn't actually say where it was from. She just sent the picture.
Anyways,
Yeah.
nice shot.
I didn't look up to see where she was from. A nice shot, though.
Yeah.
Jamie Manott sent these in. Here are my photos from the May 20th waxing gibbous moon, she says. Up close to the Clavius crater, Copernicus, and the last one of Rupus Recta, the straight wall, using an 8-inch Daub.
Yes, sir. Nice
Clavius
detail.
crater, nice, eh?
Yeah.
There's
Nice
there's
detail.
Copernicus sitting there. And Aristosthenes there at the end of the Apennine mountain range.
Amazing.
And there's
Oh.
Rupus Recta, the straight wall.
Yeah,
Great job. Nice job, Jamie.
Fantastic.
Using 8-inch Daub.
very nice.
That's the kind of detail we can get with phones now. This one came from Maura Healy. Maura said, I missed Venus and Mercury, but I did get the moon later with my iPhone. So there you go.
Can you blow it up a bit, Chris?
Blow it
Yeah,
up
you
a
bet.
little, yeah.
Absolutely. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Nice.
Yeah, that's better.
That's beautiful.
Nice shot. And from there, go to Matthew Dupre. Matthew sent this one in of this nice guy shot. He didn't-
Nice wide field.
Very nice.
So there's North American Nebula.
I like
And
it.
you can see, what Mike was talking about earlier about Deneb, right up the brightest, brighter star, and you come to your right a little bit. That's Sidar, and the next star over to your right.
This one?
And then if you go up to your right just a little bit more, and then up just a little bit. No, keep coming to the right,
Okay.
and down just a tiny bit, and now back to the left. Right there.
Yeah.
Right there. There's a crescent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the Crescent Nebula right there. And
How do you-
oh my God, that's beautiful.
How do you know
Lots
this
of detail in there, man. That's it. Nice shot.
How do you know
That's-
this part of the sky, Paul?
That's
Nice.
Cygnus.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why we like shooting it, because it's all there.
That's a really, really good image.
Yeah.
Good
Well
stuff.
done.
And he, I mean, he can only do this once in a while. I know it's a difficult shot to get, but he actually captured the ISS passing over in front of the moon.
Yes, and that circle. Oh, there it is.
Aliens. I like it.
Yeah.
You got it.
You got it. He's actually shown a couple others here. So here it is again. It's right up in here.
Yeah.
And then this next shot is right there.
Oh, so he got it going right straight down.
Yeah. And
So
there's-
these must be
Yeah, 'cause
frames
the moon's
off,
not oriented.
they're frames off his video. Yeah.
frames of his video. Yeah.
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 So,
Nice
well done.
capture, though. I've been trying to get that for a while.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's a tough one.
Excellent.
Cal Sky used to be the site to go to. You get that stuff, but I don't know where you get that stuff now.
Well, that ISS transit site, but I don't know.
Okay.
I'm running into an accuracy issue with it.
Yeah. Okay, and now that we've got through that, this is the new address, folks. So the Sunday Night Astronomy Show is now accepting photos at snas@astronomybythebay.ca. That's my new website. In development right now, but the email addresses are working. So I'm going to try to direct your next group of photos over there. I'll, of course, still pick them up off of Gmail, but I just thought this might be a little easier to do. So it's snas@astronomybythebay.ca.
Awesome.
And that's all I get to say about that.
Up there.
Up there. Okay, we're back. Thanks, everybody, for those photos. That's wonderful
Great.
to get those.
Oh.
Really enjoy showing them. Really enjoy presenting people's work. and
It's so
watching
nice
your
to see
progress.
so many people getting out there.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just so encouraging.
So many moonshots there too. Like, it's great. Okay, from there, Paul, we got to talk. You're going to give us a talk, Rosanna. It's,
All right, let's see
All
if I
right.
can pull this off. I'll give it a try.
I'm sure you can.
All right, present entire screen. That one right there.
We're going to get some theme music here.
Oh yeah, we'll get that up and
Okay.
go. Secondary, young
There's
fella.
no doubt. I'll get faith in you.
Okay, so now I got to find this. Pump that up. And we're going to pump that over there. And there we are. And now we're ready for...
This week's.
Oh, you know what? I did it again. Try that again.
He's got one job, Mike.
Get ready for this week's...
Rosanna's Fun Fact.
There we go.
Oh,
All right.
not even close.
We'll get it.
Well, welcome back, Rosanna. It's good to see you again, and thank you for this really cool fun fact that you sent us this week. I'm really excited about this one. I get excited about all of them, but this one I think is really cool. So she starts off, she says, "Hi, Paul. One might think an average person traveling to space could only happen once in a blue moon, which is only 7 times in a metonic cycle of 19 years. But if you happen to have a few cool blue million in your bank account, you could possibly become the ordinary average human in space this summer. So if you have been following the bidding to be one extra seat on the Blue Origin's New Shepherd's, yes, named after Alan Shepard, July the 20th flight into space, today it topped $2.8 million. So if one has the means, they can join the auction. So live bidding will begin on June the 12th, which is, and this ticket is definitely not going to be a blue plate special. She just couldn't stop. Let me just show you a little bit about what we're talking about here.
We've been perfecting our ability to launch, land, and repeat. Inventing and innovating so that we can explore the great beyond and protect our home. Our next launch will be the first time astronauts will fly aboard New Shepard.
Capsule Capcom, one able request.
Flight engine start. New Shepard has cleared the tower.
We're auctioning off the first seat to benefit our foundation, Club for the Future, so that future generations can do something extraordinary up there. Bid for the first seat on New Shepard.
So let me just get rid of that. So that's kind of what it's like to go up there. Now, what I'm going to do now here is actually a projected outline of what the New Shepard is. So if you look at this illustration, this is rocket liftoff on the left side, and this is the landing on the right. So basically, here's what you're going to get for your $2.8 million or more, because that's a starting bid. So what's going to happen is you're going to get on that rocket, which is really cool, and then the rocket's going to take you up into space. And as you're going up, you're going to be hitting Mach 3 in about 2 minutes. So the rocket acceleration to space, as astronauts feel about a 3G force. That's a lot of force. So then, in about another 3 minutes, what's going to happen is zero gravity begins. So the capsule, first day of my new tongue, separates from the booster, and the astronauts unbuckle and is weightless as weightlessness begins. So then you're at the 100-kilometer mean sea level line, and this is the apogee. This is the top of the flight. So this weightlessness continues for another 4 minutes, and then as we go through that arc, the astronauts are going to rebuckle. So this is going to be within the next 6 minutes, and then basically we're going to float down. The parachutes are going to open, and the first step drifts back to Earth under the parachute at 26 kilometers or 16 miles an hour. And this is going to take about a 9-minute descent. And there's going to be a gentle landing at about 1.6 kilometers an hour in the West Desert in Texas. And then you're back on the ground. So if you add up all those numbers, you're not up there an hour. But just think about what you would see. You're going to leave Earth. You're going to get up there where it's weightless. You're going to see that big, gorgeous blue globe that you only see pictures of in illustrations. You're going to be weightless. You're going to float around, probably throw up. But anyway, and then you're going to feel that G-force in that land. So you get to feel the acceleration going up, the weightlessness, the gorgeousness of space. And then you're coming back down and get rescued, just like they did back in 1969.
You get to see if it's round or flat. That's all about.
So if the price tag to join the crew is making everyone a little blue, hang on. The Discovery Channel is initiating a reality show in 2022 called Who Wants to Be an Astronaut?, where space enthusiasts will compete for a spot on a private mission to the International Space Station. Now it's getting cool.
No way.
Either way, heading into the wild blue yonder seems to be a blue chip investment. The winning bid amount will be donated to the Blue Origins Foundation, Club of the Future. If only the New Shepard departed on July the 19th, they could rocket along with Van Morrison's Blue Monday.
Right on.
So, but even on just a second, I guess you can see this. I want to point something else in this after. But even on Tuesday, July the 20th, will be an exciting adventure for the top bidder as he or she fastens their seatbelt and bolts into the blue. Now look at the price of that comic, 10 cents. How long ago was that when we were thinking about space? And here we are living it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So amazing. Now, let me just see if I can finish this off properly. Okay, and that was this week's
Rosanna's Fun Fact.
Hey!
Thank you, Rosanna.
Thank
you,
so
Rosanna.
much.
Yes,
They're
absolutely.
always so good.
Yep,
And you
there.
know what? I'm going to recommend that you go on the Blue Sites webpage, because they'll show you a lot more stuff that they do. They have 4 different systems that they use, rocket systems. That one that they've setting people up in has been tried 14 times so far. So they're very, very good at doing it. And it's not Elon Musk.
You know, his 14 times didn't make it.
Morris says that was a fun fact. It was, for sure. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thanks, Morris.
Yeah, Andrew says, I wonder if gravel would work in space.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to swallow it first, wouldn't you?
You would.
Yeah. Okay, we got celestial events for 2021, but I'm going to hang on to that for next week because really nothing's changed between now and next week. The first biggest event, of course, coming up is on June the 10th. We'll still be live for another week before that happens. So that's one we're looking forward to. The clear sky for the one we all put our order in for. Anyway, we'll talk more about celestial events next week. But there are a number of them that are going to take us interesting in through the rest of the year this year. So let's get into our closing. So in closing then tonight, special thanks again for your continued support. Thanks again, of course, to Rosanna for her continued contributions to our show. Really do appreciate all of your efforts in helping us put this show on, including Trudy out there. Trudy's done amazing job with all of our shares. We really do appreciate you sharing it so many times for us, Trudy. Hats off to you. And remember, we do love getting your photos out there, so send them out to SundayNightAstronomyShow@gmail.com. Actually, no, send them to snas@astronomybythebay.ca. Or send them into my Facebook page, either way. And we'll be happy to include them on our next broadcast. We're also looking for suggestions for topics for future shows, so if you have anything you'd like us to discuss in a future episode, please let us know. We are going to change our format around a little bit. We haven't said too much about it, but we're going to leave that as a little bit of a tease because we have got some things that we've been talking about between us to make the show a little bit more exciting and a little bit more fun. If we can possibly do that, I'm sure we can. But
It'll be different.
It'll be different for sure, yeah. So stay tuned for the difference coming up, and probably just in a couple of weeks' time we'll start with the new format. Anyway, okay, we're also asked that if you enjoyed the content here tonight and you joined us from YouTube, please consider subscribing to our channel. Please let your family and friends know as well that we are here every Sunday night at the same time to educate and entertain you a bit about the night sky. So for now then, from Mike and Paul and I, please stay safe, everybody out there. We wish you all clear skies, and we hope to see you all again here next week. And as we'd like to say, guys, keep your scopes pointed up.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Have a great week. Cue the music. Easy, easy. Oh, yeah. A little tougher with the other hand.
I'm not like a yellow to do that.
Bobblehead. Thanks, everyone. Good night.